Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings. Hello, friends, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Paul, and today I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas a little bit early. I didn't want to wait too long on this episode because it's got some great suggestions for having a green Christmas. And I know we always are, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, but I'm always dreaming of a green Christmas. And I don't mean having no snow, although I'm getting a little tired of the snow already, but what I'm talking about is having an environmentally friendly Christmas. It always drives me crazy this time of year, looking around and seeing the waste. Tons of waste. And it's all around us. Day after Christmas. I should say the week after Christmas, but you go along and drive along through neighborhoods and you see the piles and piles of garbage. The waste. And then Christmas trees thrown at the curb. I mean, luckily, a lot of those are hopefully being recycled, and hopefully a lot of the items that the packaging and such is getting recycled, but unfortunately it's not. There is so much waste this time of year. So as we're approaching this wonderful time of year, I don't want to sound like a Scrooge or a Grinch, but I do enjoy the holidays. I love the holidays. And they seem to get better and better for me, anyhow, each year. Because I keep trying to get things more environmentally friendly at my Christmas. So anyhow, here's some suggestions to get rid of all that waste at Christmas. So let's start out with gift giving. You may have already gotten all your gifts done. If you have, congratulations, you're doing great. If you haven't, you're probably like me. You still have a few to go. Of course, we've cut back a lot on giving gifts this year. And it seems to be cut down every year. And it's not that we have fewer friends. It's not that we are not gift-giving people. It's just that we decided, mostly with family, that we just want to enjoy each other's time at Christmas. The gifts are just in the background. They're not as important as spending time with your loved ones. And this is what my family has all come to realize. And so we've cut back on a lot of the gift giving. But there's always a few people you still have to buy for. And maybe you're in the middle of getting your gifts. Maybe you're done. Or maybe you haven't even started. But it doesn't really matter. Here's some ideas to make your gift giving more environmentally friendly. Now, first of all, look locally. Yeah, Small Business Saturday was just a week ago, I think it was. No, 2 weeks ago. 2 Saturdays ago, Small Business Saturday. Unfortunately, in my area, we had some bad weather, and a lot of the small businesses were hurting. And they didn't do well during Small Business Saturday because everyone was stuck inside due to the weather. So I always recommend shopping locally, shopping small businesses. It supports your community, and the gifts don't have to travel hundreds or thousands of miles to get to that store. That little mom and pop shop who really needs the help, they probably got the gifts. They either made them themselves or they got them locally. I know my wife has a pottery shop. Plug in for Black Raven Pottery on the Roycroft campus in East Aurora, New York. But she has a pottery shop and everything is made right in the shop. everything is done. We always look for our clay locally. We look for all of our products locally. So everything is made locally. It doesn't have to travel on some ocean liner or some truck or an airplane for a long distance, which means less gas, less fuel being used, less fossil fuels, less climate change. So that's the biggest reason why I like to shop locally. Besides, I like helping the locals. Yeah, I like helping my own community, keeping things in my own community. So that's what I like to do, and it helps the environment. So when you're out looking for your gifts, try to shop locally. It also saves you on gas when you're traveling. And of course, I always like to look for recycled gifts or gifts that can be recycled. Okay, so you're giving something to your grandkids. It's a toy or a sweater that they're going to wear or play with for, a couple of months maybe? And then it sits in the corner and it doesn't get played with. It doesn't get worn because they've outgrown it. So these gifts have to be recycled or reused if possible. Hand them down to a secondhand store. But when you get things, it doesn't have to be in a brand new, wrapped up, shiny box. No, try to get some things that were made from recycled sources. I always like the handmade things. Those are the best. That's because, hey, they didn't come from some factory somewhere. Now, the EPA says that 40% of all battery sales occur during Christmas time. So I like to recommend give battery-free gifts. How many of you, I'm aging myself here, how many of you remember Lincoln Logs or Legos, the modern version of the Lincoln Log? Those you don't need batteries for. What happens to these batteries? They end up in a landfill. Yes, I know, recycled batteries. Or I should say rechargeable, not recycled. Rechargeable batteries are better than regular batteries as far as, well, the environmental impact. And I've had people argue with me before because of the chemicals that are in a rechargeable battery. When they do end up dying, which they do, they end up in a landfill. They can't be totally refurbished or recycled, although it's getting better and a lot of these batteries can be recycled. I have looked for places to recycle the old style batteries. You can't find them. Every place I look, they say, oh, about the only thing you can do is toss them in the garbage. So try to go battery free with your gifts. If you do give a gift that takes batteries, include the batteries with it and make sure they're rechargeable batteries. There's less of an impact on the environment that way. Now, here's another controversial thing with a lot of people. What about regifting? Have you ever regifted? Be honest. Have you ever regifted? You get that gift from a friend or a relative or your in-laws, and you don't quite like it, do you? No, it just doesn't fit the decor of your house. It's not your style. It's not your thing. And you don't want to be rude, so you politely say, oh, this is beautiful, and you wear it every time you see that person. You have it out on the shelf every time they come over to visit, but you really don't like it. And eventually it ends up disappearing and ends up in the garbage. Well, actually, it's okay, in my opinion. You may think differently, and that's fine. But in my opinion, we have had gifts given to us by people that we only see them maybe once a year, like the Christmas party. So we're not going to have to put it out on the shelf. It's not from a family member. It's from, a long lost cousin that we see once in the blue moon, or someone at work. Maybe it was just a gift that was given to you because it had to be given because it was some sort of work party. But anyhow, these gifts, If you know you're not going to use it, keep it in the box. We used to have a box in our attic, a cardboard box that we would put these items in. And we'd stick it with our Christmas decorations. And every year we would go and look at it and say, hey, that's a good item for so-and-so. They would enjoy that. We won't, but they will. So that gets re-gifted. Or if it's something that you know no one's ever going to want, well, give it to Goodwill. Someone out there must want it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made it. So in my opinion, regifting's okay. You may disagree with me, and that's fine. But if you don't want to regift, don't regift. Now, another thing with the gift giving, and this is the last thing I'll say about gift giving, always try to get environmental gifts. So something that encourages your friends or your family or whoever you're giving these gifts to be more environmentally conscious. If you have a friend who you see going to stores all the time shopping without their canvas bag, maybe you want to give them some canvas bags for Christmas. Yeah, and they can keep them in their car. Or get clothing that's made from recycled products. Get a low-flow shower head for someone. I know it seems impersonal, but they actually make them with the lights on them now, and they're kind of neat. So maybe that's something that they would enjoy, and it's helping the environment. Get them LED light bulbs. Anything that you can find that's environmentally friendly would be awesome. Now, what about decorating? Yeah, decorating's a tough one, because we all love to decorate. It's funny, at my old house, I only decorated the inside of the house because, I shouldn't say that. We used to have some lights out on our front porch, and that was about it. We didn't do a lot of outside decorating. We lived out in the country, 12 acres. Nearest neighbor, you couldn't even see through the trees. We were far enough off the road that no one could see our house. So why bother? So we didn't do a lot of outdoor decorating. We just put some stuff up on the inside of the house for when people came over to visit or for ourselves. Now that we live in suburbia, yes, we are decorating outside. We have a nice light display outside. But we use LED lights on everything. If you still have the old incandescent bulbs, the old lights, Christmas lights get really hot when you have them on for like 10 minutes. Well, get rid of them. Yeah, just cut them up, get rid of them, recycle if you can. If not, just toss them in the garbage and get LED light bulbs. They use a lot less electricity, which means more money in your pocket, but also it helps the environment. Put timers on your lights. My neighbor here in my new neighborhood, and actually there's a couple of them, I get up in the morning and their Christmas lights are still on. They were on all night long. So it's like you're wasting electricity. No one's up at 1 a.m. looking at your Christmas lights. So I have mine actually set on a timer to go off at 10 o'clock. And I only turn them on after sunset. And a lot of times, if you get some of these lights that connect to Alexa or your phone, you can even set them to come on maybe a half hour after sunset. So they're not coming on when it's still light out and no one can enjoy them. So start using some timers and make sure they're LED lights. Now, I saw a display once. Guy went nuts on the lights in his house. He had all these decorations up front, all these blow-up things, and the house next door. And I've seen a commercial about this too. The house next door just has a sign up front, a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and he wrote "Ditto" with an arrow pointing to that house, all in lights. And there is a commercial now about it, but maybe that's where they got the idea from. But I saw this house many years ago that they had that. You don't need to overdo it. I know it's fun, but, do what you can. Now, here we go. Let's talk about the tree. What do you do? Live or artificial? It's a big debate. I have researched this like you would not believe, trying to figure out which is more environmentally friendly. If you go artificial, it's made from what? Plastics? Yeah, which is an oil product. Metal, which is mined, usually not in a great way. It's made from products that, well, basically harm the environment. And what do you do when it's been sitting in your living room for 10 years and it's starting to lose the plastic needles and it's starting to look bad, a little shabby from being stored all summer long? What do you do with it? Well, you usually just toss it in a landfill. We used to have an artificial tree, and it got to that stage where it was looking pretty bad. So we put it on Craigslist, Marketplace, and we put it real cheap, like $10. And it was a 8-foot tree, beautiful tree, except like I said, it was getting old and, it was starting to see its time. So we had a call within a few days. Guy came, he was so thrilled. I think he said that they had a fire and they lost their tree and they haven't been able to replace it. They have been down on their luck. They're financially strapped. And so he was thrilled to see this tree for $10. And I just told him, take it. And don't even give me any money for it. So it made someone happy and it didn't go in the landfill. So you can give it away, you can donate it to charity, you can put it on Marketplace, get some money for it. So you can keep it going, but a lot of these artificial trees unfortunately end up in landfills when they've seen their last days. Now, what about a live tree? I get a lot of people telling me, well, you're cutting down this tree. You're killing the trees. We need the tree. Well, if you get it from a tree farm, which is where most of these trees come from, if not all of them, they are replanting new trees every year because they want to keep their business going. So the trees that are being cut down are being replaced. So it doesn't harm the environment that way. Now, the best way, in my opinion, and I did this for a few years, but you got to do it right, is you get a potted tree. And a lot of people don't like the potted trees because, well, first of all, you have to do it right. We did it for 4 years in a row, and I think we killed 3 of those 4 trees. I didn't realize until I talked to a friend who does the same thing that you need to take it out of your house and wrap it in hay. You need to put something around it to keep the roots nice and warm. Otherwise, the roots freeze and it basically kills the tree. And even if you get in the ground as soon as the ground thaws, it's not going to make it. So you have to do it right. Now, the other thing with a potted tree that people don't like is you can only have it inside for maybe a week. And even that's pushing it. Yeah, we would usually do about 5 days to 7 days, and then we got it outside right after Christmas. Some people like their trees up longer. And now we decided not to do it this year. The reason is we have no place to plant it. But you can find nature centers, parks, places. Don't just go and plant it. Ask them, donate the tree to them. They'd be happy to get them, I'm sure. Or maybe you have a friend who has a lot of acreage and they want some pine trees on there. So you can take it to them, give it to them. So which is better? Live? Cut down? Artificial? Yeah, that's kind of your opinion, what you think you'd like to do. There's pluses and minuses to each of them. So that's all I'm going to say about the tree. But if you do buy a live tree that you cut down, you can always turn it into mulch afterwards. There's a lot of towns that'll take the trees, they put it through their grinder, it turns into mulch, and then you get to take that mulch home with you. Not all towns do that. Now, I do see a lot of candles this time of year. So whether you're using a menorah or you're using a candle that just brightens up, gives the Christmas spirit, gives that Christmas smell in your house, please go wax free. Wax is not good for the environment. It's created from oil. So go wax-free candles if you can. Use soy candles. Or better yet, just stop using candles if you can. So don't go with the candles that have wax. And what about holiday cards? I remember when my wife and I were first married, we used to hang our cards on a string right in our living room. And we would get dozens of cards from all our friends, family, and we would hang them up there, and we were so excited about it. And then we'd toss them in the recycle bin after Christmas. It's kind of a waste, in my opinion. Plus, all those cards have to be mailed if people live far enough away. And so it's traveling. Once again, fossil fuels, the gasoline for the vehicles to travel. So with holiday cards, I don't even send them anymore. People don't expect them from me anymore. And I tell everyone I see, please don't send me a card. I don't need one. You know, it's nice to get, yes, but just give me a call. Drop me an email. That way, I know that you care. I'd rather talk to you. Maybe do a FaceTime with family and friends. I mean, that's what I enjoy. My brothers and I do that. We FaceTime at Christmas time just to say hi. And we do it throughout the year too, but that's our holiday cards. It's just talking to each other. But if you do insist on holiday cards, make sure they are recyclable. What I mean by that is don't get the ones that have all the sparkly glitter all over it. Don't get the ones that have a plastic coating to them. Just get a plain card, or better yet, make your own. I've seen some really cute cards out there that people have hand created, and they're absolutely beautiful. And after the holidays are over, you can take those cards and you can recycle them, or better yet, reuse them. We used to take our old cards, and we still do, but we don't get many cards anymore, so we don't do it as often. But we would take the picture off of the front of the card, and we would cut the card up, and we would use them as name tags on the gifts. Or we would just take it, if it was a nice picture, I would fold it in half, and you write the name on the inside. So it makes beautiful name tags. You can also use them for crafts for the kids. Or eliminate them totally. Use email. Yeah, email a friend. They have e-cards now. So you can do all these things. Okay, here's a real problem for me. It just gets under my skin. It's not a problem for me in that I can't stop doing it. Wrapping paper. Half of the paper America consumes each year is used to wrap gifts. Do you believe that? Yeah, these are some statistics that I have looked up. In the U.S., the annual trash from gift wrap and shopping bags totals over 4 million tons. If everyone wrapped just 3 gifts in reused paper or fabric gift bags, it would save enough paper to cover 45,000 hockey rinks. That's a lot of paper. So we waste a lot of paper wrapping gifts. And there's alternatives, easy, simple, and beautiful alternatives. How many of you use gift bags? The ones that can be reused each year? I remember we used to have some gift bags, and I think we still have some, where they were starting to get a little bit worn and tattered, not from storage, but from being used so many years. We had some gift bags that were probably like 10 years old because they kept getting reused. And that's what they're supposed to do, is be reused. So reuse those gift bags. Use gift bags. Start the trend. I've also seen some people, I had a friend who took cloth, and they would take scraps. They did a lot of sewing and stuff, and they would take scraps of their cloth and they would make them into bags. They would put the gifts in the bags, and then they would put a little bow around it. a cloth bow that can be reused. Tie it up, and there you go. You've got great wrapping. What about every time you get something from one of these companies in a box? It drives me crazy when I order something online and I get this big box and it's like, what on earth did I order? Nothing that big. And you open it up and the item in there takes up maybe like a third of the box, and the other 2/3 is just paper that they cram in there. Well, I take all that paper and I smooth it out, get it nice and flat, and then I use it at my wife's pottery shop. It's great for wrapping the pottery in when people buy it. But we also, if it's in good shape, not a lot of wrinkles on it, what we do is we will take it and we'll put it aside and we use it to wrap gifts. I hate when I get gifts that, well, they have shiny outside to them. Yeah, the wrapping paper that you buy in the store. If you insist on getting store-purchased wrapping paper, please, I beg of you, don't get the shiny stuff. Get the dull wrapping paper that can be recycled. Because all that shiny stuff, you can't recycle it. It goes in the landfill. I have someone who used to give me a gift every year, and I would tell them every year, please don't use shiny paper on my gift. And they would use it every year. I don't know if they were trying to drive me crazy or what, but anyhow, these are some easy, simple ways to cut back on the wrapping paper. And what about the holiday party? If you hold a party, if you attend a party, maybe you're helping someone to throw a party for the holidays. I know my kids come over on Christmas Eve every year. They spend time with their in-laws on Christmas Day, but we always do everything on Christmas Eve together. And we have a lot of fun. We play games. We do all sorts of stuff. We have food. We have some alcohol there. We have a great time. But if you're throwing this party, make sure you do it environmentally friendly. Get organic foods. Get them locally. And please skip the meat. I'm going to get on my soapbox here. I am vegetarian, partially vegan. I try to avoid meat totally. I do avoid meat totally. I also try to avoid dairy, which I do pretty good at. I do eat some eggs. I do eat fish. Health reasons is one of the reasons why I started to get the meat and the animal products out of my diet, but it's also animal cruelty, and it's bad for the environment. Yeah, the meat industry is awful for the environment. And I won't get into it here, but if you ever want to know, drop me a DM and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. But anyhow, skip the meat. You don't need meat at the holiday party. Have vegetables. It's just as good. Have fruits there too. Here's an idea for a party. How about a regifting party? I talked about regifting. You're like, well, what about those well, just make sure you know who they came from. You don't want to give it back to the person who gave it to you. Of course, they probably don't remember, but you don't want to do that. Make sure you label who you got it from. But you may want to have a regifting party. Encourage other people to actually start regifting as well. And as you're getting ready for the party, get organic and free-range foods. Make centerpieces out of natural items. I've seen some absolutely beautiful centerpieces at Christmas parties that were made from pine boughs. I saw one where they took gingerbread cookies and gingerbread, I should say, and they cut it into tree shapes. And they use those as centerpieces on the table, and they decorate them with icing. And after your dinner, you have dessert right in front of you as the centerpieces. Try to skip disposables. I know it's easy. You know, it's so much easier. You don't have dishes to do. But all of those disposables are ending up where? In a landfill. If you insist on using disposables, avoid plastics. Okay, try to go with paper plates. At least those break down. Plastics don't. And a lot of the plastic plates and cups and such, not easy to recycle as well, especially if they're dirty. You're ending up washing them anyhow, so you can recycle them. So you might as well just go with regular dinnerware. Make sure you compost anything that's left over if you can. Another reason why not to go with meat. You cannot compost meat, but try to do the leftovers into a compost. And of course, when you clean up after the party, make sure you use environmentally friendly cleaning products. So anyhow, I'd like to close with some new traditions. I hope I gave you some ideas on how to have an environmentally friendly Christmas, whether it's from the gifts you buy or how you wrap your gifts or the way you throw the party. Hopefully I gave you some good ideas. It's easy to have an environmentally friendly Christmas. I can't wait for the day when I drive through neighborhoods and don't see the piles of trash after Christmas Day. So maybe you want to start some new traditions that will avoid a lot of this trash. Maybe do a family nature hike. So instead of having a big party with a lot of waste and food, go on a nature hike instead. Maybe do a nature restoration activity. And these are great, especially if you're in warmer climates at Christmas. Decorate a tree for the birds. Yeah, make some bird food and string it on a line and put it on the trees outside. Make the old pine cone bird feeders, hang those on your tree. So decorate an entire tree outside, not for you, but for the birds. And if you've never done it before, the Christmas bird count usually doesn't happen right on Christmas Day. It's usually around Christmas, but I participate in it every year, and it's a fun way to spend time with the family. You can spend the entire morning out looking at birds, looking for birds and counting them. If you're interested in doing the Christmas bird count, look it up online. ChristmasBirdCount.org, I believe, is the website. Now, what about New Year's? If you're planning on doing something for New Year's, I usually don't. I'm not a big New Year's person. Maybe because I got to that age where I just can't stay up all night. But I usually do stay up till midnight, and then I'm right in bed afterwards. And I don't go out and celebrate. I don't like dealing with the crowds on New Year's. But if you do, if you're throwing a New Year's Eve party maybe, buy local champagne. Once again, you don't want it coming from another country, traveling over the ocean. Environmentally unfriendly. Try to get organic champagnes or wines. Use recyclable decorations, ones that you can put up the next year. One day a year, you've got these decorations up. Why not save them for the next year and the next year? So keep recycling them. Have an environmentally friendly dinner just like you did for Christmas as well. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast. I hope you have a safe and happy Christmas and a very good New Year. I hope you're going to be more environmentally conscious and start helping the environment so that we can all enjoy it more. So if you enjoyed listening today, be sure to share it with your friends. That can be your Christmas gift to me, is to share the podcast with others. I'd always like to get more listeners learning about nature. And if you'd like to support the podcast, the links are in the show notes, so make sure you go to the show notes and check them out. But you can donate to my Ko-Fi page. I started this past couple of months, and I'm going to keep doing this. All donations, a portion of those donations are going to plant trees, supporting organizations that do tree planting. We really need more trees to help the environment, to help curb climate change. So that's what I'm doing with portion of the donations, and the rest of it does go to help keep the podcast going, of course. And if you'd like to find some great environmentally friendly Christmas gifts because you're not done with shopping yet, make sure to check out the Nature Wanderer merch store. Once again, the links are in the show notes. Or you can get a nature journal for those people, those friends that you are gift giving for that love to hike and wander through nature like I do. So make sure you check those nature journals out and start getting those for your friends. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great Christmas, a great holiday season. Don't get too stressed. Remember, if you are getting stressed over the whole holiday season, get out in nature. Go for a hike, especially in the woods. Really relaxes, really calms. So get out and explore nature. Keep wandering through nature. And hey, don't forget, have a great day and keep exploring the nature around you. Did you know that plastic is made with oil, a fossil fuel that pollutes the environment? And did you know that only about 15% of all plastic is recycled into new products? Wouldn't it be awesome if we could live our lives without plastic so that we could stop harming the planet? Well, there's a company that wants to help you do just that. Life Without Plastic sells products that will reduce or eliminate your dependence on plastic. They have a large selection from toothbrushes to food storage containers to drinking straws, all plastic free. And it's reasonably priced. So what are you waiting for? Check out all these great plastic-free products and help save the planet. Just click on the link in the show notes to find out more and to start your journey to being plastic-free.